Norma, did you have something else you wanted to talk about?
I did not.
Okay, any questions for Norma? Yes, Dr. Cox.
I want to make sure, and
Did you find a typo?
well, not really.
Okay.
And you know how much I appreciate this, but I do want to point something out. Not
Okay.
not that this was, and I want all the counselors to know this. On the back, if you kind of open this up and look on the back where it says Indian Health Services, at the bottom, it says no residency required for health services, must have a CDIB card from any federally recognized tribe. I want to make sure everybody's clear. Any of our clinics, including Hastings and Claremore Indian Hospital, you have to have a blue card only. That's it.
Okay.
I can't speak for the urban clinic in Tulsa, I don't know, but I've talked to Claremore and I've talked to Melissa Gower. If any of our clinics, including the federal facility at Claremore, if you have a blue card, if you have a citizenship card from any federally recognized tribe, you can go there. So in our case, if you have a blue card, that works. So I just want to make sure.
It'll work in lieu of that.
Correct. So you don't have to have the CDIB, but go ahead.
Thank you for that information. Ms. Fishenhoff.
Well, I've gotten 3 or 4 calls that says that we're not giving out rental assistance vouchers anymore, that they run out again, and I know we had this problem last year.
We have a program. We got some money, a one-time amount. We're calling it temporary assistance because it will not be recurring. So we couldn't really mix it in with the rental assistance program because rental assistance is ongoing. It's for 1 to 3 months, and it is kind of a voucher program, but that is a possibility that could help people. We're trying to help people in any way we can, but here's one of the kickers, folks. If you pay for someone to be in a home this month, if they don't have a way to pay for that home next month, you're setting them up to be evicted. So we're having a lot of people now that we're having to be real creative with because they don't have a way, they don't have any money. They have no money. So we're doing the day program. It does have some limitations on how long they can use that. So I don't know that it's anything we can use to say longevity. They're going to be able to pay for this housing. This time a year ago, if someone came in and said, I need rental assistance because I'm having to live with my relative, that was considered inadequate housing. Today, that is not necessarily so. People are doubling up, and the question now is, do you have a roof over your head? Because the shelters are turning people away. And our rental assistance, our regular rental assistance is maxed out. So the situation is not good. I wish I had better tidings for you at this time of year, but I'm afraid I don't.
Well, one of my constituents benefited from the multidisciplinary team in terms of being denied at one level for a map, I think was it, and I was appreciative that the multidisciplinary team could take a look at it, and I think the outcome was good for them. But I wanted to ask you, what guides the multidisciplinary team and how they make a final decision? Is it just their experience? Is there a set of rules, policies that...
Well, we review very closely their background. And whereas the first level may just look and see that they have some negativity in their background, when it comes to us, and I can't speak to that specifically, when it comes to us, we go back and review a little more in depth, like if they were by the court said you have to go to anger management, you have to go to parenting classes, you have to do whatever the things are. If they haven't done that, then that's not real favorable. So we're looking at it maybe at a more holistic level, but we also have to look at the type of crimes. Some of these folks, I'm telling you, and I know you know as an attorney, my arm is not long enough for you to list all the things that these folks have been involved in. And when you have that, you have to look at how long ago was it, was it violent, was it during 2-year period, 15 years ago that they did all these several crimes that maybe were related to smoking pot. I don't know. But nothing's happened. But when you pull it out, it looks really scary. But if you go back and look really, really closely, you might be able to see some things. We do contact them sometimes. We do contact references sometimes. And sometimes that's overturned what the original ruling was. So it's based on experience, but also on the facts. And some of the people that are on this are, from child welfare, who deal with these things all the time, some adult, a variety of different people. I hope that helps.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mr.
Any more questions for Norman? Okay, thank you, Norman.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving on to community services with Charlie Soap. Michael, you going to do Charlie's?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. And Charlie was unable to be here this afternoon. I believe all the community services report should be in your packet. And if you have any questions, we'll try to get them answered.
Ms. Fisher.
So are we okay over in Adair County for a little bit?
On the MOA, I need to probably talk to you guys and find out what was passed this morning. I'm not exactly sure. I first thought it was the MOA we've been waiting on, and it's not. You're telling me? Okay.
No.
Then the MOA that was passed by the Adair County Commissioners this morning was to update our annual inventory. That was a process we go through with each county that we're updating road inventory in, and that was probably most likely what was passed.
Yeah.
So then, yeah, I mean I guess that's a little movement forward, but we're still needing that other one signed as well.
Any more questions for Michael on community service? Michael, I have a couple of questions, or I guess a couple of comments. You want to pass these on? I had sent a request in to the nation here about a rural water district there north of J, rural water district 10. They have 2 wells. One is dry. They have 600 customers on their system. From what I understand, there's about 30 to 40% that are Native American. I've asked the Community Services Department to look in to see if there's any emergency dollars for that. I did make a suggestion that working with the Water and Sanitation Program, that Indian Health Service has some emergency funds. It probably won't cover the whole thing, but I think there's a $10,000 max to that. So if we don't get them some help, and if they don't get it back up, they're going to have to shut their rural water district down completely. I'd like for the community service to take a look at that. Also, housing, they'll take a look at that to see if there's anything they can do to help that rural water district over there. I told the guy to go to Water Resources Board, because sometimes they do have emergency funds there, and he's in the process of doing that too. So I'll be back in contact with the department to see if anything can help that water district along.
Okay.
The other thing, and this is a comment for Mr. Soap and his department to take into consideration. I've had some conversations with other tribal council members that on a weekend, on a Friday night, we get a call from a participant that has an emergency. We can't seem to get a hold of some people that should take care of those emergencies. What I understand now is with heating in the wintertime, they either furnaces broke down or they run out of propane. These are elderly people that are 85 years old, disabled, lives alone, and are having to sit there from Friday night until Monday morning before we can get a hold of anybody to take care of the services. What I'd like to see the administration in this department to do is actually take a look at different areas within the Cherokee Nation to have a focal point for those people to call. I understand there's be some logistics to it, but what's happening, the council members are getting those calls, and we really don't have a way to take care of those people, which is a true emergency. I know, what I understand, we have one set up in Cherokee County here in Tellico area, but we don't have anything set up in the northern counties and in southern counties. So, if you see my point, if a person calls me at 5 o'clock Friday evening, they're just going to have to wait till Monday morning to get anything done. And if it's 0 degrees out there, it's kind of an emergency for those elderly people. So if you guys would take a look at that and see if we can come up with a solution to help those people out and to give us some type of answer to where we can call.
Okay, we'll do.
And I think that was what I wanted to bring up. Does anybody else have any questions or comments they want to pass along to Charlie as for through Michael Lynn? Okay, thank you, Michael. And you want to just stay right there?
Yes, sir.
And go ahead and give us the update on the roads and transportation.
Okay. Again, I think you have my report in your packet for the month. Just want to bring you up to speed on a couple of projects that may have changed since this report has gone out. Greasy Road rehab road over in Adair County has started last Monday. The contractor moved in and started on that. They are hope to be finished here pretty quick. That project should move really fast once they get started and get in there, if the weather doesn't hold them up. Rice Woodard Road here in Cherokee County also has bid and been awarded. That project is expected to start in the middle of January, around January 18th. So we're awaiting that day there. Those two projects are funded with stimulus dollars. No real change on any other item in the report, other than I do want to mention that we will be coming to this committee with a resolution in January. Kind of goes back to what I was talking to Councilor Fishinghawk about on our IRR inventory update. It's a process we go through annually to update our inventory, and we have to have a resolution approved by the council as part of the submission requirements. So we will be coming to this committee with that next month in January.
I have a question from Mrs. Jordan.
Michael, how many bidders did you have on the Rice Woodard Road?
I don't have the number right offhand. I can get it for you. It was, I'm going to say 4.
Who was your low bidder?
Glover and Associates.
And they're Taro?
No, ma'am, they are not Taro.
Do we have any Taro bidders?
I believe there were some Taro bidders. Yes, ma'am. I can get that information.
Would you mind emailing that to
You bet.
me?
You bet.
Thank you.
Mr. Baker.
Yeah, you said Rice Woodard was going to be stimulus funds.
Mm-hmm.
That was already approved and going to be done out of the regular funds. So what road does that bump up?
We've added 17 new projects to our priority list just here 2 or 3 months ago. What that's going to do is advance some of those projects a little faster.
But any end of this year?
Can't say really any end of this year. We have until we get all these projects underway. It's going to be kind of tough to determine exactly how much money is available to bump projects up. But all of these projects, there's 6 stimulus projects. All 6 stimulus projects did have regular funding programmed to those. Maybe not programmed to the point of construction, but Rice Woodard did. You're right. That's one of them that did.
But I guess my question is, are we just going to take the stimulus money and not spend our money
No, it'll get spent most definitely, and it will bump projects up.
in this year?
If they intend, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I can't answer I can't tell you exactly what projects it's going to get bumped, but it will bump projects up. Yes.
Okay.
Michael, will the stimulus money go back and reimburse the dollars that you spent for design and
No, sir.
so it's strictly for the construction of the
It's not just strictly for construction. You cannot reimburse dollars that you've already expended. It's not a reimbursement situation. You can use the dollars to design projects. That was a decision that was made not to do. We are just going to fund the construction only.
Sure, I understand. Okay. Any more questions for Michael on the roads? Okay. The next is Michael Lynn on public comment, and we always do this. And Michael, why don't you explain real quick, real brief, what the reason we're doing this?
It's part of a funding requirement. The regulations state that the public needs to have an opportunity to comment on anything that we do. One area of the program that this is really important on is our long-range transportation improvement plan. Our long-range plan is what we refer to it as. And just as a FYI, we will be needing to update that here within the next few months, where this part of the agenda becomes very important to that process. But it just allows the public to comment on anything that's going on.
Okay, thank you, Michael.
Thank you, guys.
Mr. Sullivan, Housing Services.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
Got a couple of disclosures to make. We got Devin and Tori Dry, who's the grandson to Housing Services employee Shirley Blackfox. They're getting either mortgage assistance or Title VI house. I don't think that they've fully decided which one. And then Mary Ann Blossom, who is the grandmother to Housing Services employee Stacy Blossom, is going to move into an apartment up in Locust Grove, I believe it is. Those are the two disclosures. We didn't have any new foreclosures in the last couple months for mortgage assistance or Title VI, so that's good news. The one thing that I think I mentioned last month that the Housing Authority Board will take up tomorrow evening is the Community Shield. I'm recommending that they raise the deductible to $500 from $250. And with that, there will be an increase in the premium of $3 per month, or $35 a year, which is less than 1% and is actually a little less than what it has been in over the past few years. Now, next year about this time, or even before then, we'll probably start working on a way, two or three different levels of insurance or coverage. Right now it's $80,000. We feel like we probably need something more like $100,000, and then another option of maybe $115,000 or so. With that, folks will have to pay a little more money. They're getting some more insurance. But it's not a good thing that folks with a $100,000 house are sitting out here with a policy for worth $80,000. But if they have a total loss, they're going to be out. And so this is this year. We'll work on this other thing for next year and try to get that implemented between now and then.
Councilor Hoffman.
Thank you. And we can visit about this outside of the meeting, and probably out of your department, but Mr. Parrish and Vanita, who had had some housing problems and some water problems, I just wondered if you had any update on that. And maybe
I think I do. I can talk to you after the
Okay,
meeting.
that's fine. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Station Hawk.
Yeah, do you all have any openings for low rent apartments?
I'd have to check to get up-to-date numbers, but right now our apartments are as full as they've been in years. But we've always got people coming and going. And you might drive through projects and 2 or 3 empties. Well, there could be 2 or 3 families we're waiting on to get in there, because some folks don't have the money right now for the utilities, and we try to give them plenty of time to do that. But if you need specific for Adair County or somewhere, I can get that info for you.
Well, I was wondering, because I'd asked Norma about our rental assistance, and she said it was maxed out. So I was curious to see if there was any play over there.
Well, I encourage people to apply for those apartments. Get on the list. They will eventually come up because there is there's 20 or 30 that move in every month and 20 or 30 that move out every month. It's kind of how it is. But we are. I mean, the economy like it is folks are moving to rental. And, it's not all fortunate, but that's the reality.
Thank you.
Councilor Hoffman.
Yeah, I meant to ask you about this for some time, David. When they perform maintenance on these, like in Veneta, Buffington Heights, when they're performing very simple maintenance tasks, they have to repair someone's apartment, some drywall, let's say, for example. Is the process still that they have to send in some kind of requisition to Tahlequah to get that approved and wait for it to be approved, and they can go down to the local lumber yard and get what they need, or do they have the ability locally to take care of some of those problems?
That's changed to where the procurement has implemented a $5,000 limit. Although you need to be using a Taro vendor, but they have some leeway now. The process is much quicker than it used to be. Of course, we've got 30 maintenance guys who are all sending their requests for this or that or something else they don't happen to have on hand, and it can be quite cumbersome to try to, at one time, because with a pencil you needed to bid it out. So
can they locally, if they use a Taro vendor, go to a local Taro vendor just as long as they stay under that limit, or is there still a procedure they have to go to get approval?
They still need to get approval, but it's not a very long process.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Well, just to add to that, David, what I'm understanding, what I'm hearing is we don't have a blanket purchase agreement with the local lumber yards.
In some of the smaller communities, we don't. We do have with lock, Talcol lumber, and that lock can be used at any lock, not just this one. We've got some others, don't know where they're at, but we do have some blankets out there.
Councilor Hoskins.
Would that include T.H. Rogers and Zanita? That's locally the primary.
I just have to check, I don't remember.
Okay, that's fine, thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Councilor Ball.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Are those Taro certified lumber companies?
I need to revisit the regs on the $5,000, what the policy is. I can't remember how it's worded, but it's generally if it's Taro, then you don't have to get the bids. But if it's not Taro, then you do.
Okay, and not to pick on you, but even if it's under 5,000 and we have a blanket, 'cause I know there's a Taro lumber company in my area, and I don't think they get any bids.
On the blankets, those are bid.
Okay,
Those are bid out.
okay.
We just don't go down and do a blanket. Those, we have Rehab has the most blankets of my people, and they have several list of items. And they bid those out to whoever, and I said Talcol lumber. It may not even be with Talcol lumber this fiscal year. I don't know.
I'm kind of curious, could you bring a report back? It doesn't have to be lengthy, but just yes or no if they are,
Blanket
that we do
POs.
business with that are Taro or not.
On the blankets.
Yes. Yes.
Not just the blanket, I mean, because there are Taro lumber companies, and if we're not doing business with them, I'm concerned about that, so, thank you.
Okay.
Yes, David, if you would, just make a list of the vendors so we'll know. I just get a lot of comments, I guess, that we got to go to Talcol to get this or get that, and I'd just like to say, well, you got a PO here at T.H. Rogers or wherever it is, but Mr. Baker has a question.
One comment on the question. Talcol lumber is not Taro, but I think under the new law that they're going to qualify on the 70% Cherokee employees, because I think they're more than 70% Cherokee employees.
David, I do have a question on Amaranth. Is the income guideline set by federal or is it set by the insurance company?
It's set by us. We set the income guideline.
When is the last time it's been reevaluated? Do you know? Or can you?
We just set the what's used for the housing programs, which is 80% of the national median income. HUD sends that the median income, the new ones out each February to April in that time frame. So we'll get some new ones somewhere between February and April. I don't have any with me right now. I think I've given you all some of those in the past. They always go up. They're pretty reasonable. If you increased it, of course, that's going to increase the number of folks that can use it, which means you got to come up with more money to pay the premium so they can pay you back. It's kind of a deal, but that's what we used when we first put the policy into place. I think in '02 or whenever we started it. They go up annually. This last time they went up $2,000 or $3,000 for a family of four. That's about 40. I think it's about 50.
Well, I just know it's a reasonable cost of insurance, so that's the reason I was asking. Anything else, David? You want
That's
to tell
all
us?
I have.
All right. Any more questions for David? Thank you, David. Next is Commerce, Anna Knight. Anna and I apologize for not putting you on the agenda. I did oversight on my part.
Well, I'm a glutton for punishment for pointing it out, so. Anyhow, you have a copy of my report, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Anna, apparently you've done a good job on answering our questions. I don't have any questions either, but thank you for coming today.
All right.
Thank you. Moving on to old business. See, we're to assist with the driveway project, and Mr. Baker is going to speak to that.
I will. It really came out of a motion in last month's meeting that was tabled instead of just being voted up or down. What it referred to is we've got the $2,000 self-help. And in the past, we've used it for handicapped ramps, we've used it for driveways to get up, and they say that it cannot be used for driveways. Well, and if it can't, it can't, and that's all well and good, but, you know, these 80-plus-year-old people don't need a new roof. They don't need new windows. They don't need a new door. What they do need is material to work on their driveway, which they're willing to do themselves with their own equipment, so that they can safely get in and out of their house and safely get an ambulance and a propane truck and those things to their residence. And so I made a motion that we allow the driveway materials to be part of the $2,000 self-help. And so I guess I'll put it in the form of a motion again, and hopefully we'll either vote it up or vote it down and tell these folks one thing or another.
I have a motion, I hear a second to that motion. I have a motion second, and now I have Dr. Cobb.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Michael, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I'm going to need to pull you up here and ask some questions. Because I had a situation very similar to this in Washington County. And Councilman Thornton, I'm not putting you on the spot. I'm just reading straight from last month's minutes. And I understand this is, you're talking about self-help. We're talking about different stuff here. But
yes, sir.
And I'm going to give Councilman Thornton a chance to either respond to this how he wants to. I'm reading straight from last month's minutes. It says, Councilman Thornton stated the roads department had funding to help with driveways. I'm not saying we do or don't. I just need to get my arms around this, because I need to know exactly what the policy is here. I had a family, very similar situation, very similar age group, the Zen family that we talked about. And you know that situation is very similar to this, and the answer, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm paraphrasing. I mean, I want everybody to have the opportunity to say what they want. The answer was, we don't do private drives. And so basically, my response to that family was, you need to call the county, and you can submit to the county, and basically it was out of our hands. We don't do private drives. So I understand we're talking about a different funding source here. I do understand that. But I just need to get my hands around this. From the roads department perspective, I want to know exactly what the policy, the response to a request is when somebody says, you know, this is what we want to do, and it's a private drive. I need to get my hands around this.
Did I respond?
So I'd like to yield to
Okay.
Michael, and then
Okay. We have three sources of tribal funding within the program. That's motor fuel tax, motor vehicle tax, and then the special bridge and vehicle access dollars, which is funded through the tribe general fund. The first two that I mentioned, the two compact dollars that we have, those compacts are very specific as to what roads those can be used on. Both of them must be used on public roads, and most importantly on the vehicle tax dollars, those must be used on the county or state collector system roads. So it's even a little more specific than the fuel tax compact. The general fund dollars, as you probably know, don't have as many strings attached to those as far as the usage. The project that you mentioned over in Sequoyah County was a project that serves, and I don't know the exact number. Commissioner or Councilman Thornton probably knows this better than I. But it serves more than one home, and I want to say it serves 4 to 6 homes. But again, don't hold me to that. It was more of a common driveway or a public driveway. It's on a section line road. I can tell you that it's on a section line road. That it's just not an open section. The county does not maintain that section, but it is on a section line. And these driveways peel off of that road into their homes.
If I can, no. We're talking about in Sequoyah.
Yes, sir.
Because this is a similar situation in Washington. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. And these peeled off of there, and what the Councilor Thornton and some of the landowners that I spoke with wanted was that main line gravel provided for that main line. We did submit a road improvement request for that. Did go through the Executive Finance Committee for consent, and that's as far as it's gone right now. We've not bought any gravel. It's just been the council here has consented to that project. Most recently, this situation with the driveway in Councilor Baker's area here in Cherokee County has came up, and as well as numerous others. There's been a lot of phone calls here recently. Most of the phone calls that we get that start out by saying, "I heard that," Cherokee Nation. We did meet with Cherokee Nation administration just this morning before this meeting, and it was decided that we will not be pursuing any private drives, whether it serves one home, 2 homes, or 20 homes. It is not on the county system and not being maintained currently by the county, that they will not be funded. So I am going to have to rescind the request for the drive over in Sequoyah County. That will come back through the committee for a refund to Councilor Thornton.
Awesome.
Thank you. Sounds like we have the answer from Rhodes, but I have the same issue that Councilman Bill John Baker has, and got the same response. In fact, the family, who, by the way, was an Indian Child Welfare foster family, was denied their application, as I understand it, for self-help funds. And it strikes me as an odd result that we would help them get from their driveway to their house with a ramp, but we wouldn't help them get to that same driveway. And I know that's not your issue, but that's the frustration that I felt. So I guess we need an answer with respect to what Councilman Bill John Baker's raising, which is, can we use self-help dollars for that? And I'll throw it out to, not necessarily you if you know it, but if anyone with the administration knows that answer.
I can try to get you that answer. I honestly, you're right. I can't answer that from the administration's perspective. Anyone here that can?
I mean, the answer seems to be a resounding no.
Are you talking about the emergency self-help for housing?
I actually put it this way on behalf of my constituent: any available help. This particular constituent had family and friends at the ready, even some materials to help with the driveway, and was turned away. I assumed it was all available programs, whether it was the self-help or any of those. So to the extent you've got knowledge of the policies.
Well, if it's the program that Councilman Baker's talking about, the policy does say that it's for housing repairs.
And I guess the question is, it's got to be attached to the house then? Is that the issue? So, but
We have turned down numerous requests for other things, a barn, a bridge, a road.
is this policy is not because of any kind of federal requirement that we maintain that policy? Is that correct? So we could, in fact, I guess that's what Councilman Baker's motion is to change that now. Is that correct?
That is.
All right. Well, I don't have a vote on this committee because I'm not a member, but I support it 100%. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Baker.
Yeah, and a couple of deals. They kind of informs me that it's in her area, not in my area.
Well, I don't know whose area
I'm just
it is.
telling you, I'm just stating the fact. You know, it's in her area, not in my area.
Okay.
The folks, either we're here to help the people or we're not, and it's just that simple. And the $2,000 self-help program is funded by this council to help Cherokees in need, and it was supposed to be a easier, shorter, quicker way to get services to our people. Instead of them waiting for the $5,000 emergent or rehab or emergency rehab, or waiting for the $25,000 full rehab, we put a program in. It was originally $1,000 self-help, where if the roof was leaking, they could go buy the materials, and the family could have their own God-doogie project and take care of Mama's house. But everybody is not a round peg for a round hole. Some people are square pegs. And just because these 80-something-year-old people don't have any needs of the Cherokee Nation except gravel. Gravel's what they need. They don't have gravel. They don't have the resources to buy the gravel. But that's what they need. They don't need a handicapped ramp. They don't need a handicapped ramp. They don't need a new roof. They don't need these other things. And at their age, they'll probably never come to us again for anything. Now, there's no restrictions on this self-help dollars other than the amount of dollars that we have if we're afraid we're going to run out sometime during the year. But folks, that's where we can easily add $50,000 or $100,000 to it. And I get the comment that, well, if we do one driveway, we'll be doing driveways from now on. Well, if that's what their real need is, and that's their only need, then what's wrong with helping them get an ambulance up to their house when they need it, to help them be able to get their car out so they can go to the doctor, to help get the propane truck up to them so that they can have heat? That is their need. And just because it's not the same need as somebody else has, it is still an elder's need in the Cherokee Nation. And $2,000 is the maximum that we could possibly spend on it. This particular house isn't going to take near that much. But that's the maximum of this program, is $2,000. And all we've got to do is vote yes to change the policy and add road access to the policies. And if that's what our people need, then why would we not want to be responsive to what their needs are? If there's hundreds of them out there that need roads, folks, then there's hundreds of them that need roads. And let's look at filling the needs of what our people need, not what we're willing to give, because everybody doesn't have the same need. And this is a way to do it without using road funds. And it's a maximum of $2,000. It has a self-help component to it. And I beg you to vote yes on this amendment.
Councilor Corning.
Okay. I'm sorry, maybe I misunderstood here about 8 years ago when we put this into action. Because I understood it that this is discretionary funds. This belongs to Cherokee Nation. We spend this funds on our people. And we put this into a bridge and access. Access, not a bridge, but this was for culverts and tin horns and gravel for accesses. That's the way I understood it when it first went in. I didn't understand it to be out here for a state highway to build a bridge with, because you can't build a bridge for $15,000 a year. You can't build a culvert for even close to that. But maybe things have got turned around, because I know several people that's been helped by this. And it isn't this one road that we're talking about. And they've been given tin horns, and they've had gravel in, and they've taken care of their driveways. Now, maybe this being a general fund, maybe we need to revamp this and make sure that it is for private roads. Because county commissioner or state highway, they can't work on a private road. And that's exactly, or you can call them drives or driveways. And that's exactly what we need these funds for. And that's the reason they were set aside. Now, whether we can take this funding and transfer it over into community services for private drives, that would be one idea. Or we can leave it right where it is and say, yeah, we're going to use this for private drives. Now, that's up to us. We set the policies for that type of funding. So, whatever y'all want to do, I'm ready to do it. But I think I'm just like the rest of you all. These people need help. And right now, we're saying we can't do it, which it has been done in the past. I can take you and show you places it's been done.
Just to comment on what Mr. Thornton said, I think Mr. Thornton is right. The Bridge and Access Fund can be used for those type of program uses. And I think you can do that. I think it's broad enough where each council member gets $15,000 a year to use those funds And I don't see any problem with using those funds for access to driveways. Yes, Michael, you had a comment.
I would like to clarify that the tin horns that have been provided specifically there in Sequoia County were in county right-of-way.
Yes, I understand.
They were in county right-of-way, not on private
You
property.
want me to take you and show you?
Huh?
I'll take you and show you.
I can show you the request that I've got in my office.
Show you where they're at. And that's been about, 6 years ago, 8 years ago.
This fund was only put in place in 2006, so 6 or 8 years ago,
The first year.
it was not these
It's been
dollars.
back the first year.
Okay.
Councilor
This was put
Cobb.
in April 2006.
One thing I want to know, are the funds we're talking about on the self-help, are there any federal funds involved in those? Is it all tribal? Are there any?
Tribal.
They're all tribal. What is without having it in front of me, what is the current limit on that self-help? When somebody applies for it, what's the current limit?
2,000.
You say 2,000?
Yeah, up to 2,000.
Up to 2,000? I would suggest, based on Councilor Thornton's comments, there's some things that need to be done here. I would make a motion to table this.
Second.
I think we need to look at some things, and I mean, I think Councilor Thornton made some great comments, but we're not going to solve it in 5 minutes.
Okay, motion's been made to table. Second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Aye.
I think we're going to have a roll call because I couldn't determine. Robin?
Jack Baker,
Yes.
Harley Buzzard,
No.
Julia Coates,
Yes.
Bradley Cobb,
Yes.
Joe Crittenden,
No.
Jody Fishinghawk,
No.
Meredith Fraley,
No.
Janelle Fulbright,
No.
Don Garvin,
Yes.
Chuck Hoskins,
Mr. Chairman, I am not a member of this
Yeah,
committee.
okay.
Well, the record should reflect that I would not vote to table this.
Dinah Glory Jordan,
No.
Chris Soap,
Yes.
Curtis Snell, David Thornton,
No.
Kara Cowan Watts,
Yes.
Buell England,
Yes.
Bill John Baker.
No.
We have 7 yes and 8 no.
So the motion is not to table. So we'll carry on with Councilor Baker.
Yeah, and folks, we're not the Eastern Band, but do you realize the Eastern Band not only gravels the roads to every Cherokee citizen's home within the boundary, but they also asphalt it? And it doesn't matter if it's a mile from the main road or not. They pave every single house that they build on the mountain. They pave their roads up to their house. And we can't even buy a little bit of gravel to level out the low spots. I mean, they have at least seen that that getting to your house is important, and that getting the propane trucks is important, and getting the ambulance is important. And I think it's just as important in the Cherokee Nation here in Oklahoma as it is in North Carolina. The roads has been told that, hey, you know, that pretty much we can pass whatever we want, but they're not going to process the money if it's not on a state right of way. And when we put that bridge and access money in, it was originally bridge money, but Buell England made a friendly amendment. He says, hey, you know, I don't know that I need any bridges up in my area, but tin horns and driveways is real important. So, can we amend it to cover those private driveways and those tin horns? And we all agreed. That's what we said. We said, yeah, I accept that, and we voted on it. And so now, what you're telling me, it completely kind of backs up what I really thought we passed that day. And so now not only are we saying let's table letting these folks use the Gadoogie or the $2,000 self-help, But we're also telling them that, but we're not going to let you do your private drive with this other fund either. I mean, I'm with Mr. Thornton. I don't care how we help them, but folks, these folks need help. And I hadn't had many where this was the, I don't know that I've ever had one in my district where this was the need. I've had one in Joe Critten's district where the propane truck refused to go to the man's house, where the ambulance refused to go pick the man up, and we worked on it. Now this one's in Tina's district. David's had some, but if they got the need, let's fill the need. And if we can't do it with the road and bridge funds, then let's do the 2,000, and then let's really look at this road and bridge money. Because, I mean, are we here to figure out how we don't help our people? Or are we here how to figure out how we're going to help them and what they need? Thank you.
Councilor Fulbright.
Thank you. With all the rain that we have had, there's a real need for this. Many people have homes just like mine. They're a little bit down the lane or down the pathway, and we recently had to have 2 loads of gravel hauled in. It's very expensive. And the elderly need ambulance service, propane trucks. I agree with Councilor Baker, Councilor Thornton. I don't know exactly how to get the funding, but this self-help $2,000 would certainly take care of it if we covered it with that, because a lot of people, somebody in the family may have a tractor and a box blade where they could kind of smooth it out itself. And a lot of the gravel trucks, if you get an experienced person, they can spread that gravel out so good you really don't need a lot of extra blading with it. So I think there's a real need here, and we need to attend to it one way or another. Thank you.
Okay, I have Councilor Jordan and then Cobb, and then we're going to call for the question. I have one comment before we do. Councilor Critton.
Thank you. You know, we just spent a bunch of money on some of our cluster site areas. A lot of it, probably in most cases, it was probably most of it federal dollars. But those people could get in and out to their homes and stuff, but the roads were rough, and they needed attention. A lot of these is like, as Janelle was saying, isolated house sites and elders in a lot of cases, and they're up against it with the way their roads are. And I can't see how we could refuse to help these people myself. It makes no sense at all to me. Just a comment.
Thank you. Councilor Jordan.
We've had 3 years now of really, really bad weather that has really taken a toll on the driveways. Gravel is about $150 a load. Tin horns are about $200 a piece. We're not talking a huge amount here to help a good number of Cherokees in the 14 counties. And I would hope that you all would consider supporting this for our people.
Councilor Cobb.
Let's be real clear on why I motioned to table this. I thought Councilor Thornton had some really good suggestions. We may be able to go back and look at some of this and create some really good policy. There may be more money available to do some more things. But if everybody thinks I tabled it just because I don't want to help Cherokees, then so be it. I mean, I am not a knee-jerk reaction type guy. When I hear some good suggestions on something, maybe we need to sit down and look at it and say, you know, we could do this better. But we seem to be in this mode where it's us and them, and there must be some agenda. We might be able to do this better if we'll just look at it. I mean, that's the only reason I motioned the table.
I'll cut the debate off on this issue, but I do have one comment. I just really feel like the $15,000 that each council member has on their discretionary dollars can be used for bridge and access. I think it was passed, and I think it was passed liberally to do that. I think it's been used that way in some cases. So I think that's where we need to use it.
Point of information. So
Yes.
who's going to make that decision once regional? I'm not clear on that still.
Well, I think the way it is now, the
political
tribal
decisions
councils
like-
make those decisions with the roads that they're doing in their areas with motor fuels, and then tag tax, I think it'd be the same way. So saying that, I think we got a motion and second. I'm going to call for the question. Does someone call for the question?
Call for the question.
I think in order to do that, we're going to have a roll call vote to do it, because I think a while ago we were so close that I don't think I could tell the difference. So I'm going to ask Robbie to do a roll call. And the motion to pass is yes. The motion to not pass is no.
Julia
Is everybody clear? Okay.
Julia Coates?
No.
Bradley Cobb?
No.
Joe Crittenden?
Yes.
Jody Fishinghawk?
Yes.
Meredith Fraley?
Yes.
Janelle Fulbright?
Yes.
Don Garvin?
No.
Chuck Hoskins?
Record will reflect that I support it.
Tina Glory Jordan?
Yes.
Chris Stowe?
No.
Curtis Snell? David Thornton?
Yes.
Kara Cowan Watts?
No.
Buell England?
No.
Bill John Baker?
Yes.
Jack Baker?
No.
Harley Fezzer?
No.
Yeah. 7 yes, 8 no.
Motion passed. Moving on to new business. Councilor.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda to add a policy to the Bridge and Access Fund to clarify that it can be used on private drives.
Second, with a friendly
They have-
amendment,
Okay, let's hear the friendly amendment.
that I don't know that it should clarify, but we should have, before we do any clarification, there should be an Attorney General's ruling or something to that effect, stating what it can, and then we should bring forward a policy.
Would you accept that motion?
I think you're getting
Well,
ahead of,
I mean, it's land owned by Cherokees, and it's no different than working on their private house, and it's all tribal funds, and we are the keepers of the purse and make the policies of where it can be done. I fail to see the need for the Attorney General to
I'll withdraw my second.
thank you.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and second. Now discussion. Councilor Fulbright.
Well, I would like to see us be able to use that bridge and access money, but our county commissioners, I don't know who would implement it, because they aren't allowed to go on a private drive. They may have used to, but the ones that we have now that I work with will not work on a private drive. So I don't know if I don't know that we're into setting the policy, but if we decided to do it this way, to allow it to be used, who would implement helping them set the culvert or grade the roads because of you know what I'm talking about, Council?
That makes sense, and in this particular case, the county commissioner was going to haul it to the right of way, and these folks have their own tractor and front end loader and all is how they were going to do it. And we'd be getting across departments if we used it to hire the Cherokee Nation dump truck to go dump it. So I guess it wouldn't keep the county commissioner from taking our dollars and hiring a truck driver to take it onto the access. But you've got a point there on logistics of who would be doing it.
Any more comments or discussion? Ms. President.
Was that a resolution, do you recall, when we set up the fund for the bridges? And
I'd be fibbing if I said I think it was an act.
okay.
Didn't tell you to
So we
say.
didn't review the legislative history of what the intent was, correct?
Well, it was ordered to do that last month, but I don't know who did it.
Oh, okay.
Or you. requested it.
No, I didn't request
It
it.
was in
Yes,
the
we
minutes.
did, yes, we did. Michael, you got an answer to that, was it an act or a policy?
What I have is just minutes passed on April 11th, 2006 at the Delaney shop that we have, where we had a resources committee meeting. And it's just reflected in the minutes that this program would be established. I don't know that, I've not seen any legislative acts. This is the only thing that I've ever gone by. As soon as this was done, I was asked to prepare a budget for $225,000. That's just kind of where it got started.
So it wasn't it wasn't a resolution there. You didn't find a resolution. It was a policy that was passed at a resources meeting, I think at Delaney is what you said.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
Okay. It was just a policy that was passed, not a resolution or act. Yeah, you have
Not even
something?
a policy, it was just minutes.
Okay.
What I have.
I might add the budget was created through an appropriation bill. There wasn't enabling legislation that created the program. It began its life in a budget mod. We're limited to the minutes of the meeting. There's one in the standing committee that had jurisdiction, and then it got forwarded out of there to the finance committee for appropriation.
Okay. We have a motion with a second on the floor, and Mr. Baker, would you clarify that one more time?
It's just add the policy that it can be used on private drives.
Okay. Mr. Hammer.
Just for logistics sake, if the chairman would allow me, Ms. Fulbright has an excellent point. The operation to carry out your effect is going to be extremely difficult because county commissioners, as we all know, are prohibited from working on private drives. And if you allow this to happen, you're going to see the county commissioners be very reluctant actually to carry it out, I believe, because they're going to see, their constituents are going to see them working on private drives and say, well, how come you're working on this private drive and you're not working on my private drive? And then you have an accounting aspect of, well, whose dollars are you using to fix this private drive? Initially, the thought of the committee would have been probably more appropriate in that these are tribal dollars. You control how these tribal dollars are used, either by resolution or by act. And if you allow it by an act, then you give the parameters by which the administration is going to do this, and the administration will exercise this in a politically neutral way, and it takes all of the political questions out of it. So I don't know if I've just muddied the waters or not, but the actual affecting this or carrying out the genuine desires of the motion are going to be extremely difficult. I just wanted to state that.
I'm going to take three more, Hoskins, Cobb, and Jordan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I think what you've just raised and what the other councilors raised is why the self-help program made tremendous sense and really didn't call for any further clarification because of its simplicity. But, Todd, is there anything that would prohibit us from amending Councilman Baker's motion so that it is essentially a self-help component of those dollars? In other words, those dollars are checks cut for materials on a self-help basis. Essentially, his same motion as earlier, it's just a different set of funds. I just wonder if is there anything in that funding source that prohibits us from doing that?
I don't know.
And I would offer that as a friendly amendment if the councilman thinks that the issues raised by Mr. Hembry make that insurmountable.
I would accept an amendment for materials only with the self-help component.
As a second, I can accept that too.
Yeah, and Councilor Cobb?
I'm not opposed to any of this. I just want to go on record is that our job is to make good law and good policy, and doing this on the fly is not good law and not good policy. Doing this right the way we're doing it, I am vehemently opposed to it. I have absolutely no problem if somebody comes back with good documents, says this is what we need to do, let's talk about it, come back in committee and let's pass it. I am completely opposed to doing this kind of law and policy on the fly.
Okay, I have Counselor Jordan.
Well, again, I don't think we're talking about a whole lot of money. I think the gravel's at $150 a load, tin horns are at $200, and my understanding is that the county commissioner would just bring it to the point where it intersects with his county road, and it would be a self-help project. And we're not talking a whole lot of money. I think it would have been better had it been done in the self-help area of housing. But if that's not to be, this is the only other option. And I think this was the option that Mr. Thornton was utilizing that has just been rescinded today. And so I would ask that we put this back in play because it's worked before. Apparently it's worked on other projects and just now is coming up as a question mark, but it has worked in the past. And I would ask for you to consider supporting it.
Okay, let's take a vote on this one through roll call. And I want to clarify this again with Mr. Baker's policy statement. Can you clarify that one more time for us so we're all clear as to what we're looking at?
Basically, it says that the road and access funds can be used on private drives, materials only, with a self-help component.
Okay.
I got a question for you, Harley.
Yes.
I'm going to ask you a question because of you being head of roads for so long. Was it your understanding that $15,000 could be used for access?
That was my understanding, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
I think we need to go ahead and take a vote on this. I think we've belabored this for a long enough time.
But one point of information, to clarify this debate, this exchange that just happened, there's a big difference between access roads for regional access and those things and a private drive. So are we voting on private drives or are we voting on regional access?
Private drives on the access, or to access the county roads or whatever.
So the question, the answer is the driveway that connects to the county road. Okay, yes is in favor, no is not in favor.
Yes.
Jody Fishing Hawk?
Yes.
Meredith Brady?
Yes.
Janelle Fulbright?
No.
Don Garvin?
No.
Tina Glory Jordan?
Yes.
Chris Soap?
No.
Curtis Snell? David Thornton?
Yes.
Kara Cowan Watts? No. Geo England?
No.
Bill John Baker?
Yes.
Jack Baker?
No.
Harley Buzzard?
No.
Julia Coates?
No.
Bradley Cobb?
No.
Joe Crittenden?
Yes.
Motion fails. Moving on to no business, new business, Mr. Jack Baker.
Yes. Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve $14,000 for the Angel Tree, which is funds that they need for all the applicants,
Second.
and that it be moved to full council tonight as part of the budget law.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded.
Oh, no. I had my hand up before the...
Yes, I did. I recognize Calvin Watt and Jody Fishing Hawk.
I thought we had $15,000 already in the council budget. Is this approving that money to move forward?
It's my understanding this $14,000 is coming from the administration's budget, and not from the tribal council.
We had 12 or 14 in our budget, right?
I thought it would even be 15.
But did we, but I thought we'd already moved that over.
Are we doing this on the fly?
Yes.
Kind of seems like.
Pardon?
Let's hold our comments and be recognized.
It's
Big fly.
all the money that's been supplied from different donations, including C&E, they're $14,000 short to supply all the needs that have been asked for.
Okay. I believe Mr. Baker brought this up the last meeting we had too. I'm going to ask Ms. Norma Merriman to come up and comment on this.
We did not know at the last council meeting what our needs would be exactly. We get $20,000 from C&E. We try to allow $50 per child to meet a need like underwear, a coat, shoes, whatever it is, and then we try to get one thing that they wish for, a doll, football, whatever, at least one thing. With the number of angels that we had, and two, the number of folks who are taking angels is down this year. That's really where we've gotten caught. Not as many have taken them. With what the money we had and the angels we need to cover as of this morning, we had about $25 to $30 per angel. So in order to get up to that 45 to 50, I spoke with the chief this morning, and we estimate about an additional $14,000 should help us level that for all the children.
Okay, Ms. Fishinghoff, you had a comment?
Are you telling me all we're doing is spending $50 a piece on these kids? That
Well,
the 14 will only spend $50
Here's
a
what
piece?
here's what you need to understand is the people that take the angels off the trees, some people may spend $15 and some people may spend $150. We can't dictate to people what they spend on an angel. So when they come back to us, we supplement those folks who didn't have the money to, buy a lot for the child. We have fill-in things that we buy. So we try to make sure every child has one thing they need and one thing they've requested. So we have, I don't have an actual official count, but we've got about 1,500 angels. We have about between 650 and 700 as of today that aren't covered. Now, I will tell you, we put out a call this morning, and I can tell you that the health department and other departments have really come through. But I believe with another $14,000, we can bring it up to about $50 per child. It may not seem like much. We're really good shoppers, and so they get a pretty nice package.
Well, I know you can't ask for money or anything else, but no, it don't seem like much, because it isn't much. $50 a child? I'm okay with giving them money, but good Lord, let's not be Scrooges.
Well, the other thing you have to understand is today is the last day we're running out of time to even
That's what I'm saying. I don't
So-
know why they ain't giving $100 a kid. When I adopt a child, I spend a couple of $100 on my boy and my girl that I adopt.
Well, I'm not sure how to answer that. We're trying to make sure every child gets something and has.
I hope, Jack, you'd consider giving them $100 a kid. That's horrible at Christmas time.
Yeah, I have Baker, Cobb, and Fraley, and then I'm going to call the end of this debate.
Would you be willing?
Just clarification. The 15,000 or the 14,000 that you need is that counting the 14 that has come from the council already?
I'm not sure I knew that there was 14 that had come from the council, so that may be an error in my part.
There's 12, it's 12,000 is the number.
Okay.
From the council. It's for ICW custody children. That's what that 12,000 is for. The
And they're not
council
counted in
sponsored
this.
2 angels each of you, for a total of 34 at $100 a child for 3,400. That's what's has been in our budget historically. So those are the 2 components of the council's budget.
So,
Harvey,
Have that been
answer my
done?
friendly amendment.
Go ahead.
If it's for the,
so that they have
if
that
it's for
money.
the custody children, those custody children aren't wrapped into this. That's a separate group of children, okay? So.
I'm just asking, have we sent those monies over? That's what.
Yes, I believe we did an internal
Both.
transfer.
Both of those, and they know about it. They're aware of the transfer. Okay, that's all. Thank you. And my apologies for confusing the 2 amounts.
It's
No.
Yeah.
Councilor Cobb, you had a comment?
Norman, does this include the angel tree at Catoosa?
At the CNE.
Yeah, what we're talking about, the one at Catoosa,
What
that
we-
benefits also the
Yes.
kids in that area.
What we do, this is throughout the 14, yes, this is all the, and you need to know that all the CNE and CNE take some of these angels. So we've tried to get them out there, and but still, we're really low down on what our employees and other people have taken this year. And I know it's because of economic times.
Councilor Fraley?
Nothing, Doug answered my question.
I never
Okay.
got an answer for my friendly amendment.
Well, actually, you didn't ask officially while ago for the amendment. but-
Okay. It's
But I have a
friendly
question for
amendment.
Norma. So how much would it take to bring it up to $100 per child?
Well,
That's
you'd have to
gonna
go, you'd have to do that across the board to be,
be Right.
to be
I know,
fair.
I know.
Well, we have 1,500 children, so
So that's an additional,
it's a lot. What I would suggest is that because of time, that you let us just do what we need to do this year, and if folks want to do something different next year, that might be easier. I don't know.
your total number of angels is,
About 1,500. It may be a little over that. But we have about 650 to 700 that we need to take care of. Now, we have received some money, probably another $2,000 today, maybe not that much, maybe 1,500 from a all-employee email that went out this morning. But we don't have that in our hands, yet. But people who are going out and buying for certain types of fill-ins, we were out of things for boys age 4 to teenagers and teenage girl things. There was an employee email sent out.
then to bring it, if there's 1,500 to bring it up, that would be an additional 75,000.
Well, but remember, I told you right now, we have about 25 to 30 per kid. I'm just trying to raise it
And then the
up.
other, the
So,
650
do
minus
20
1,500 is the one that we need 50 for.
700. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I think we need to move on with this. Jack, do
Then
you?
no, I will not at this time.
Okay.
Okay.
Chairman?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to know where most of these kids are. Are they all in Cherokee County? Or
No, so they're throughout the jurisdiction.
how many are in the district court?
I have no idea. It would take sitting down and hand calculate. We can do that, but probably it would be it'd be after the new year.
Okay, a motion and a second on the floor, and they did not accept the friendly amendment. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Your friendly amendment was not accepted.
No, I want to make a motion now on my own to spend $100 a kid. He didn't accept my friendly amendment, so I just want to make a motion on my own.
Okay, do I hear a second to the
I'll
motion?
second it.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I have a friendly amendment to increase to 200.
Kid, you got it. I'll accept it.
Okay, we have a motion to add $200 to it. Okay? Any discussion? Mr. Baker?
Yes. To increase it to 100 is 75,000 additional. To increase it to 200 is 225,000. And where's the money coming from?
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Roll call vote. Yes, you approve the $200 with the no, you don't.
Chris Zook. Curtis Snell. David Thornton.
Yes.
Kara Cowan Watts. No. Buell England.
No.
Bill John Baker.
Yes.
Jack Baker.
No.
Harley Buzzard.
No.
Julia Coates. No. Bradley Cobb.
No.
Joe Crittenden.
Yes.
Jody Fishinghoff.
Yes. Yes.
Meredith Fraley.
No.
Janelle Fulbright. No. Don Garvin.
Yes.
Hannah Gore Jordan.
Yes.
I have 8 no, 6 yes.
Motion failed.
But not by much.
Moving on to announcements.
Can I make a motion?
I'm gonna deny this motion. I think we picked this around enough this afternoon. As chairman of this committee, I'm gonna go ahead and end this committee meeting.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Move to override the decision of the chair.
Roll call vote. Mr. Henry.
No, I was just going to explain. There's been a decision by the chair, a motion to appeal the decision of the chair. That needs to be seconded. There can be one speaker each way if so desired. Okay, so he moved to appeal the decision of the chair. Was there a second?
Point of order. But there was a motion to adjourn before his motion to appeal.
Oh, well, that's...
So the motion to adjourn takes
Okay,
place.
So, the motion to adjourn. Take a roll call vote for the motion to adjourn.
Jack Baker,
Yes.
Harley Buzzard,
Yes.
Julia Coates. Bradley Cobb,
Yes.
Joe Crittenden,
No.
Jody Fishinghoff.
No.
Meredith Fraley,
Yes.
Janelle Fulbright. Yes. Don Garvin,
Abstain.
Hannah Jordan. No. Scope,
Yes.
Curtis Snell, David Thornton, Shara Cowan Watts. Yes. Gil England,
Yes.
Bill John Baker.
No.
Yes.
10 yes, 4 no.
Well, any announcements? Seeing none?
Please,
We're on the meeting.
5 minutes, please. We gotta get rolling.